Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara, and we're glad you're joining us today for another informative and engaging episode. As we dive into the world of current events, our goal is always to provide a balanced and comprehensive view of the stories shaping our world. Today, we're starting with a thought-provoking story that highlights the complexities and challenges of the U.S. immigration system. Recently, there have been reports of a new strategy being employed by Immigration and Customs Enforcement in various cities across the United States. According to these reports, ICE officers are arresting individuals at immigration courts immediately after their cases are dismissed, rather than allowing them to pursue other avenues for relief from deportation. This development has sparked concern among immigration lawyers and advocates, who argue that this approach undermines the due process rights of immigrants and creates a climate of fear and uncertainty. They point out that many of those being targeted have no criminal background and are seeking to navigate the complex legal system in order to remain in the United States. On the other hand, supporters of this strategy argue that it is a necessary step towards reducing the significant backlog of cases in immigration courts, which currently stands at around 4 million. They also suggest that this approach may encourage some individuals to consider self-deportation, thereby alleviating some of the pressure on the system. One case that illustrates the human impact of this policy is that of Alexander Bulletin, a young man who fled dictatorship in his home country and is now fighting to avoid deportation from the United States. Despite having a lawyer and no criminal record, Alexander was detained after his case was dismissed, highlighting the unpredictable nature of the current immigration landscape. As we explore this story further, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and the broader implications for immigrants, communities, and the legal system as a whole. We'll continue to monitor developments in this area and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, let's take a step back and reflect on the complexities of immigration policy and the human stories behind the headlines. It's a reminder that the issues we discuss on this show are not just about policies or statistics, but about people's lives and futures. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're continuing our discussion on global news and current events. In this segment, we'll be examining the complex relationship between President Trump and the G7 group, as well as a report card on how G7 countries are addressing child sexual violence. First, let's take a look at the upcoming G7 summit in Canada, where President Trump will be attending next week. The G7, or Group of Seven, is an organization of the world's 7 largest economies: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. As we've seen in past summits, President Trump has had a complicated relationship with the group, often disagreeing on key issues such as trade, climate change, and security. According to reports from NPR Politics, President Trump's first term was marked by disputes at leader summits, which has led to concerns about the effectiveness of the G7 in addressing global challenges. We'll be keeping a close eye on the developments at the upcoming summit and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. In related news, a recent report card released by the Brave Movement, a global survivor-led advocacy movement, assesses how G7 countries are addressing child sexual violence. The #BeBraveG7 scorecard evaluates 5 indicators, including online safety regulations, legal barriers to justice, and support for survivors. The report finds that while some progress has been made, particularly in the UK's efforts to end online childhood sexual violence, there is still much work to be done. The report highlights that 4 out of 7 G7 nations have implemented severe cuts to official development assistance, which has dismantled critical safeguards for vulnerable children. However, it also notes positive momentum in some countries, such as Germany's establishment of a National Survivors Council and the UK's introduction of a 2023 Online Safety Act. It's essential to recognize the importance of addressing child sexual violence and the need for global cooperation to protect the world's most vulnerable populations. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates on any developments. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're wrapping up today's show with a comprehensive look at the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. As we've been following the developments, it's clear that the situation remains complex and multifaceted. Recently, there have been reports of prisoner exchanges between the two countries, with both sides releasing wounded or young soldiers, as well as returning the bodies of those killed in combat. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has expressed gratitude for the return of his country's servicemen, while also acknowledging the challenging work ahead to bring all prisoners home. Meanwhile, Russian state media has shown footage of returning troops, highlighting the emotional reunions with their families. However, it's essential to note that these exchanges are just one aspect of the broader conflict, and many issues remain unresolved. The U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has been involved in mediation efforts, emphasizing the need for concrete proposals from both Russia and Ukraine to move forward. The international community continues to call for a peaceful resolution, while also providing humanitarian aid to those affected by the war. As we strive to provide balanced coverage, it's crucial to acknowledge the various perspectives and interests at play. We must recognize the human cost of this conflict, including the lives lost, families separated, and communities devastated. In conclusion, the Russia-Ukraine conflict is a reminder of the complexities and challenges inherent in international relations. As we navigate these issues, it's essential to prioritize empathy, understanding, and constructive dialogue. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.